All right, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about grading the New York Rangers during the pause. Now, before I get started, I just want to ask you to please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, which will alert you when my next video comes out, which will be about the New York Islanders. Now, the last team I graded was the Ottawa Senators there. I'm shooting these videos in reverse alphabetical order, and I'll throw up some links to those other clubs throughout the rest of the video, somewhere up top. Now, the Rangers are probably one of the biggest up-and-coming clubs of the future right now. They're sort of revered and by other clubs who are not doing so well in terms of how fast this retool is happening. Of course, ownership sent a letter to the fans a couple of years ago saying, hey, we're going to suck for 2-3 years, but the end result's going to be worth it. And it looks like they're definitely going in the right direction. A lot of insiders at the beginning of the season said they'll at least come close to making the playoffs, which is sort of where they are right now. Now, their season from October till the pause has been a little bit of a teeter-totter, but when it comes to their record, now they lost their last game in overtime, were 5-4-1 in their last 10, but have 79 points right now. So they're only 2 points out of a wild card spot. However, the Islanders have one more point than them and have 2 games in hand. So they've kind of got to leapfrog them. But the Islanders haven't been doing too well the last half of the season. So it's definitely a possibility this team could still make it. Columbus is in that last wild card spot right now. They could be bumped out. We'll see. Now, I'm going to talk about trades here for a second because Jeff Gordon has sort of really shaped this team, especially hit the gas since about July. But let's start with their latest big trade, which was sending left shot defenseman who was playing on that first pairing with Trouba for most of the season, over 20 minutes a night, Brady Shea to the Carolina Hurricanes. But they got a first-round pick out of the deal. And this was only February 24th. You'd think if they were pushing for their playoffs, they might want to keep one of their best left shot defensemen who eats up a lot of time. But hey, go with the plan, I guess. Now, some other notable trades. They sent Vladislav Vinick to the Ottawa Senators back in October. Since then, he's been flipped to the Avalanche. In July of last year, they traded Jimmy Vesey to the Buffalo Sabres, got a third-round pick for him. And then, of course, in June, they made the trade to get Jacob Trouba and sent Neil Pionk and a first-rounder back in the other direction to the Winnipeg Jets. Now, when it comes to injuries, the only lingering issues they have now with any players is Michael Haley, who has something wrong with his core that he injured on February 8th, and he is still on the IR at the moment. Now, let's look at some stats. Real quickly here, starting with the special teams. Their power play, 7th in the league. Not shabby at all. Their penalty kill, 23rd. Wins, they're 12th in the league. Points, 16th. Goals for, 5th. Tell me you aren't at least slightly surprised by that. Goals against, 24th. Yeah, more on that later. Shots against per game. They rank 30th in the league. They allow on average 34 shots a game. And their face-off win percentage is as bad. It's also ranked 30th, only winning 46.6% of that. Now, some key notables here for players. Panarin is tied for 3rd on the points list. He's got 95 and is 2nd on the plus-minus category in the league with plus 36. Zimbabwe is another mentionable here. He's ranked between 10th and 12th, whether you consider tiebreakers or not, and he's got 75 points on this season. He's having a breakout year for them as well, as is Strome, too, but more on that later. Now let's start talking about their goalies, starting with the King, Henrik Lundqvist, who has one more season at $8.5 million. Now, he's 38 years old right now. It's the twilight of his career. In 30 games, he had a .905 save percentage this season. Last season, in 52 games, he had a .907. It's time to go, isn't it? We all love him. We all wished He could have, won a cup before he retired, but can the Rangers buy him out? Maybe he'll do them a favor and retire, and perhaps they'll give him a job in the front office, maybe as a scout or something. I don't know. Somehow they got to get away from this cap hit next season, and they got to run with their two young up-and-coming goalies in Georgiev and Shesterkin. Speaking of which, let's start with Georgiev, who they almost traded. Sounded like he was in a lot of rumors throughout this season. But in 34 games, he has got a .910 save percentage. Not bad at all. Last year, in 33 games, he had a .914. So they've got a really good 1-2 punch there with the next goalie I'm going to talk about in Igor Shesterkin, who played his first game, I want to say, on January 7th. In a game they beat the Colorado Avalanche like 5-3. He made like 29 saves. Now in 12 games this season, Shesterkin has a .932 save percentage. Unbelievable. Now, yeah, maybe 12 games isn't enough. We want to see more. But this is his first season in North America. Keep that in mind. In 25 games in the AHL earlier this season, he had a .934 save percentage. And if you look at what he did in Russia last season with St. Petersburg, he had a .953 save percentage in 28 games. So they're set at that position. The question is, continues to be, what are they going to do with Henrik Lundqvist? Now, Shesterkin, by the way, is 24. He'll be 25 in December, and he's 6'2". Now, let's talk about the defense. Starting with Jacob Trouba, whom they acquired from the Winnipeg Jets last season. He plays the most minutes on the team at over at 22.34 per game. He's one of 4 players on the team who've played all 70 games so far. And this is the first season in his career where he's actually been on the negative side of the plus-minus category. But you got to give the guy a bit of a break because he plays not just in the first pairing against the toughest competition, but he's also on the first penalty kill unit and on the second power play unit. In 70 games, he's had 7 goals and 27 assists and is a -12. Compared to last season with Winnipeg, in 82 games, he had 50 points and was a +8. So maybe this is him adjusting. I would think both him and the team expect a bit more of him point-wise. But still, he's doing a good job for them, I would say. That whole right side is probably one of the most balanced in hockey right now. Because next up, I wanted to talk about is Anthony Deangelo, who's having a career season. Now, this guy bet on himself before the season started, signed a 1-year contract for $925,000. And in 68 games this season, has 15 goals, 53 points, and is a +12. Unbelievable. Yeah, last season, by the way, in 61 games, he had 4 goals and 30 points and was a +6. So they got to pay this guy this year. He's an RFA. He's RFA with arbitration rights as well. So there's that. And then their third very talented right shot defenseman, who's 22 years old, also 5'11", so is Deangelo, is Adam Fox, who of course was originally drafted by the Calgary Flames, didn't want to sign with them, traded to the Carolina Hurricanes, didn't want to sign with them, only would sign with the Rangers, he got traded there, and in 70 games, he's got 8 goals and 42 points and is a +22. So he's having a really good season as well. This being, of course, the first of his NHL career. So their future is bright on that right side. The left, they kind of traded Brady Shea away, and the rest doesn't look too hot. But, especially with Stahl, who, besides Lundqvist, is probably a contract they wouldn't mind getting rid of. He's signed for one more season, I want to say. But they've got a really decent prospect pool. It's actually ranked second by the Hockey News, and 5 of their top 10 prospects are defensemen, and 4 of them are left shot D. So perhaps they'll be able to fill some of those holes and have some more competition for it. If not next year, definitely the year after. Now, moving on to the forward bunch here, I wanted to talk again about Ryan Strome. But before I did, I mean, their top two lines are pretty steady. Ryan Strome centers the second line. On the first line, you've got Kreider, Zimbabwe, and Budenovich. I always butcher that name. And then Panarin and Strome on the second line. And then that's sort of where the points kind of falls off a cliff after that in terms of what they produce. Now, Strome is having a career year right now. Remember, it's easy to mix him up with some of his brothers. I think he's got two more, right? Two others. Now, he's 26 years old right now, but he'll be 27 in July. So he's not a kid anymore. He's 6'1". He shoots right, and he can also play right wing. Now, in 70 games this season, 18 goals, 59 points, plus 21. Last time he was this good was 2014-15 with the Islanders. And then I also wanted to talk quickly about Capo Caco. He hasn't been doing too great this season. I don't want to say it's because of him that they're a little weak on the right side. Now, he is a left shot, but they play him on the right wing too. In 66 games, he's got 10 goals, 23 points, minus 26, by far the worst on the team. But he just turned 19 in February. So he's got lots of time to grow, to blossom, to marinate. And I know there'll be a lot of eyeballs on this kid next year to see how he improves. How do I grade this team? Well, yeah, currently they're a little weak on the left side defense and the right side wing. But they're kind of meeting the status quo where everyone thought they would be in terms of their retool, which is happening very fast. They have a very bright goaltending future. They have good players in the lineup now and coming up. I got to give them a B, a solid B. I could even go higher, but what would you give them? I would love to hear, especially from you New York fans, where you think this team should be graded in the comment section down below. There you have it. That's it. That's all. Thank you so much for supporting me. The subscribers continue to trickle in. Speaking of which, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And hey, in this crazy world we're living in right now, please try and stay safe. And if you can, stay at home. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.